Prakash again, with joining with us for life to understand more about life. How well we can sense life. Our interest is based on life only. How well we can sense life, that will we can be. So what we know and what we are knowing, the difference between what we know and what we are knowing just now. The most important aspect is to give attention to what is happening now within me, where my attention can start from, how close I can bring my attention to myself. That's where I can be conveniently. So here, getting together with another person, also the process of that sense, how well I can maintain myself, is very important to be with oneself and be with another person at the same time. That togetherness for life.
Yes.
Yes, Prakash, your voice, please.
Yes. Last time we spoke in Malayalam, so
Yes,
this is an English switch over.
of course.
So again, greetings to everyone, whoever is watching or whoever is going to watch. And I think what better place to meet than wonderful living, because we are all living.
Of course.
And like I did last time, I'll give a little bit of background
You're
of
welcome.
where uh, where my life has taken me in a very wonderful manner. I study plants, and one of the things about plants is they are always growing, and they also know when to grow. So, since my university days, high school, late high school to university days, for the last 40 odd years, I've been studying plants and how plants know when to be quiet, how plants know when to grow, how plants know when they are small, and how plants know when they are big. And how do they find light, and how do they find water? And in terms of our relationship with plants, we can only relate to them through the mind. They relate to us through growth. They're always growing. They relate to us through growth. They look at us and say, oh, here is a human coming, just like a bee. The bee needs some sugar. The human needs some food. So I should grow.
Of
But
course.
it doesn't say I should grow. It just grows. So because the mind is not there, the awareness is there. So I like plants as a good example. And whenever you talk, it's almost like listening to the plants. You're always talking about awareness. So the awareness aspect without the mind can be easily observed in plants. But we somehow think that they don't have a mind and therefore they are not conscious. But they are aware. At least we can say they are aware. They respond to things. You put a seed in water, it germinates, it grows. You give it enough light, it will flower. So it has the rhythm. And the other aspect of plants is they're always working. They're always working to make sugars and grow and flower and produce fruits and seeds. So in a way, you can think of our life simply as, at one level, simply as growth. But because we interact with each other, we can also see growth in each other. We can also relate to the growth in each other. And that might be a good place to start relating with others. And then look at all the things the other things. So this is the kind of thinking. I simply call it, how we see the world is human centric. And there is a word, they call it anthropocentric. Anthropocentric means looking at the world through the human lens. Then you can be zoocentric. You can look at the world through the eyes of an animal, and you can sense the world in a very different way based on instinct, not too much planning and execution, all that, just instinct, just knowing where they are all the time. And then when you come into phytocentric, phytocentric means connected to the earth, connected to the space, but knowing that they are connected to the earth and connected to the space, and knowing they have to grow in both places. They have to grow in the earth and they have to grow towards light. So plants give you a very different lens to look at the world. And I call that lens phytocentric. Phyton means plant, a part of a plant. Phytocentric means you're centering yourself like a plant. And when you look at the world through the lens of the plant, you say, where is light? Where is water? How can I be stable? How can I keep on doing what I can do? And how can I be content? Because the plants are not going to run away. They take up the responsibility, they grow wherever they are. If it is a climber, they will climb on the tree. If it is a small grass, they will grow. Even if you step on it, it will grow. It is not worried. Oh, human beings, these cows, these horses, they are stepping on me. No, they grow. So a big tree will grow into a big tree. So no matter what, whether you are a climber, a grass, a small plant, or a tree, they are all plants. So sometimes you say, oh, I'm so small. You're still growing. Oh, I'm so big. I have a lot of wood. I'm still growing. I'm climbing. I need support. You're still growing. So by shifting your lens to a phytocentric lens, you can get rid of a lot of the problems with the human lens, the problems. But there are good sides to the human lens, helping each other, seeing each other through our own reflections. That the plants don't have. So we have other domains of awareness. The concept of self, I, integrated self. All these are typically human. But looking at it from these different lenses, you feel much more settled in your body, in your breath, in your actions. Yeah. So that's why I always talk about plants. We can talk
Yes,
about other things.
yes, yes. It's like walking like a telescope, bringing
Yes,
many different varieties of lenses together. The
yes,
phyto, the instinct lens, the human lens. And when we can bring all these lenses together, such is a human being,
yeah,
which can associate with many different lenses, the capacity to
exactly.
associate. And when we
Yes,
associate, our capacity to observe is getting richer.
yes,
Our lenses are working like a telescope, like a microscope, and it has got different purpose can be executed simultaneously and
yes,
very easily. Such is a being. So enhancing that lenses, cleansing that lenses and using it to observe and to be where you are supposed to be. The
yes,
capacity to remain stable, simultaneously you have to grow also. So growth is one potential to maintain oneself in that given space. If you are not growing, then you cannot remain stable where you are.
right,
So growth is connected with stability.
yes,
If you are not growing, then you are not stable where you are supposed to be. You cannot remain stable without growth.
yes,
So we are connected with plants also as well. We are
yes,
connected with ants, animals. We have instincts. So
yes,
the instincts should drive us to growth.
yeah,
Every activity should be connected with growth. If growth is not happening, then stability is not possible.
yeah,
So growth is nothing but the changes that is happening continuously. The change observed continuously is growth.
yes,
There's nothing else actually. The growth is nothing but a continuous change observed in our sense is growth.
Growth is a kind of self-awareness, but
Exactly.
continuous self-awareness. It is aware all the time. It cannot say 1 minute somebody will grow. No. But in humans, our bodies are not, we think, we have a lot of thinking going on. So we are not connected to our growth. Our bodies are also constantly growing, replacing cells, regenerating other parts of the body. But it is not in our view. But for the plants, that is the only view. They don't think anything else. Their only view is how to grow. So their awareness is strongly a continuous awareness of growth. And you can simply think of the continuous awareness of growth as a self-awareness. The other aspect of continuous awareness of growth is if you cut a branch of a tree, if you cut a small branch, and if you put it in water, it will form roots. So if somebody comes and hurts you, that hurting is also growth. That other person might not know he or she is hurting you. But when it affects you, when a branch falls, the branch will take root and grow. So the phytocentric is very resilient. It is not just growth, it is very resilient growth. And you can think of an example of a tree. Once the tree grows, the roots are down there. Nobody is watering the plant. The trees are just growing in the forest. So then when you look at that, our mind, when the mind comes up with thoughts, oh, this world is like this, there is too much politics, I can't do anything, I will sit in the corner and watch TV or just complain. All that is not possible anymore. You see a plant, it's always growing, a tree. Then, as a human being, you have more capacity. Why can't you grow? The plants will challenge you. See, I can't move. I have to stay in one place, but I'm always growing. You can move, you can think, you can also grow, but you are complaining. Why?
Yeah,
So these are the
our capacity is to remain stable. So,
yes,
if you are stressed, means your inner self is beckoning you to grow, progress, sense the changes that is happening. You have to
yeah,
give attention to all the changes that is happening, irrelevant of whatever the others are deciding. The change
yeah,
that is happening within you, the
yeah.
change is nothing but the growth. It's all
Mhm.
growth. Growth is change. So
Yeah,
giving attention to that change continuously is growth. So mind is seeking many things. Seeking many things, it's also growth. But when it is not connected with the self and experience, then you can never establish the stability.
yes,
Mind will take you randomly to many places, but you cannot feel the connection. That is the reason for all the stress and all the disease, because the connection cannot be sensed. You should feel it. You can feel the thoughts. The thoughts
yeah,
do have feelings. If you are not able to bring the feelings of the thoughts, then you cannot establish with yourself.
yes,
Bringing that attention towards that feelings of being is a
yeah.
richer way of living.
Mhm.
If you're accumulating with thoughts, well, there's no problem of thoughts, but if you cannot feel it, then you will get desperate.
Yes,
That phytocentric should be there. That means gravity and space. Gravity, the earth connection and the space connection, that phytocentric of thoughts should be there.
yeah.
Someone should have.
Sometimes phytocentric is very interesting because sometimes it can be very stormy weather, high velocity of wind, pouring rain, dark skies. The plant, does not have enough light, but the roots will keep growing. See, when the conditions for growth in space is difficult, the growth in your foundation, in your earth, in your gravity is available.
Definitely.
Because when the growth in gravity happens, when the clouds go away, when the conditions are right, the growth in space becomes easier because your growth in gravity is very strong. But when you forget that, you don't think about to grow. Now you're not stable to grow enough in the light. So this is another aspect of phytocentricity one can think of, that you have what is called a social domain, where you have other people, society, your family, your friends, everything. So you can grow there. But you can also have a spiritual growth. The roots going into the earth is like spiritual. Nobody sees it. Nobody sees that. When you're always maintaining this constant awareness and keeping the calm state and progressing whatever you can do, nobody will see that. The society will not see that. But you are always maintaining growth.
In the
That
darkness also, in the darkness also we can grow.
in the darkness also we rest and grow. Sometimes the plants become, when it becomes really hot in a desert. So if you go to the desert, or even in the forest, if you go and watch the trees, after they produce a fruit, they have seeds in the fruit. A mango seed is, after the mango fruit is eaten, the seed is sitting there. When the seed is sitting in the ground, you'll think, oh, it's nothing. But if you're paying attention, careful attention, then you will plant it gently. Give it a little bit of water. Soon you have another mango tree. So instead of 100 mangoes in a season, you get 200 mangoes. So you also learn how to invest your time. You don't get the return right away. You don't get anything quickly, but after a few years, you're going to get a lot of fruit. You can give it to other people. You can do many things with the fruits. I think life is like that. Sometimes you are not going to get anything. You're not getting anything, but you're still progressing. That is the phytocentric lens. You're still growing, progressing. At some point, you will get the returns. Whatever the returns, that will make you happy.
Of
So
course.
the sense of happiness is not based on what you're getting, is how you're growing and what you're giving. You're always giving.
That,
Growing means giving, because
yes.
when you're growing, the first thing you do is you're giving happiness. Anybody comes to you, they sense happiness from you. That is a big gift. That is one of the biggest gifts somebody can get, a sense of happiness when they come near you. So, same thing when you walk besides the plants, if you see a nice flower, a beautiful leaf, you feel a sense of happiness. When you see raindrops on the leaves, it's something like a jewel. The nature in it with its ornaments, it's so beautiful. So you'll start to see beauty in many things. This is the kind of advantage, the benefit. And then you get to know nature. When you go out, you get to know the plants. You get to know the animals in your neighborhood. You become more aware of nature.
To know everything, one should have the center. Yes, good morning, Tolga, and good evening, Tolga again. To know, you should have a center. The center is very important, where the balance of the happening, where we can bring the balance of the happening, where we can see everything is happening, because you are center where it is not moving. So when you are not moving, you can see and feel everything that's moving. So if you are
Yes.
getting along with the movements, then you cannot have the capacity to remain stable. You focus on the movements, and whoever is focusing is not moving. That stability, to remain stable in one space or without space or whatever it is, we cannot define yourself. In its core, you don't have the capacity to define, because it needs no definition. It's not connected with anything. That's why you cannot define the core of oneself. It needs no definition. It cannot be deciphered. It doesn't have that capacity to be separated. So what we can separate, that can only be separated. So the capacity within is cannot be separated, and whatever that can be separated, because the capacity to remain stable is always I. That I is
Yes.
very important. Who can have that stability? From there, you can see everything that's happening perfectly around us. You don't have to fix anything. Everything is happening around you. We think
Yeah.
because I have taken some decision, so they also have to take a decision. No, we drop the decision. We can feel that no one is taking any decision actually. The decision that I have taken is also forced into myself, or is a natural self happening perfectly. That's the reason for all that's happening. It's not because I have initiated something. The universe has initiated it. It's
Yes.
not my decision. You focus deeper into your decision, you can see it's not my decision. It's a
Yeah.
decision of the universe, and I'm only a participant of this happening, this nature.
Yeah.
So the instincts are a part of the universal happening. A phytocentric is also universal happening. So everything that's happening is perfectly happening, and is always happening.
Yes.
When you can be part of that happening, that's what ecstasy, that's what all the happiness or pleasure, whatever it is, in different dimensions, it is pleasure. When you transcend yourself into a different dimension, you feel pleasant or you feel compassionate, all because of different terrains within your experience.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
all different wonders together. Whether it's high pressure, you have pleasure. Where there is low pressure, you have pleasant feeling. There also, you will have the capacity to sense it. Where the pressure is low, one should be able to manage what is happening. That is stability of individuality.
Yeah.
There are very subtle aspects changing inside and outside. We are capable of sensing the subtle aspects changing inside and outside simultaneously. This brings us more clarity of living.
Yeah.
It's not universe that we are seeing as a whole. Once we look into yourself as a whole, then it is connected with everything. It simply opens connection. We are connected with many things. If we are not aware of the connection that we are connected with, that's the problem that we have to face.
Yeah. The other aspect that I was thinking as you were talking is sometimes you might not see a potential within you, but you know inside that there is some potential, but you can't see it. There again, a phytocentric view can allow the mind to be watching. So the mind needs something to do. It wants to take ownership for all actions. Instead, if its only ownership is to watch, its ownership is to watch. And if it is watching, then it will be more observant. So if you are, in Kerala, there are a lot of these ponds, and underneath at the base of the pond, it is muddy. But in the mud are the leaves of the lotus, and the buds are all hidden there. If you think there is nothing in the pond and you empty the pond, instead of just watching, when you watch, when the light comes through, when the light falls into the water and nobody is disturbing the water, you can see the young buds of the lotus flower, but they're covered in mud. So if you say, "Oh, it's not nothing there," you will not watch. But if your focus is on that potential, even though it is covered, then that potential is seen as unfolding as it is coming through the water, cold water. It is washing itself. Nobody needs to wash it. It is washing itself. And as it is coming further up, you can see the young white petals on the top. Then you know, oh, the potential is going to express. You know the timing. Then the lotus emerges. And once it emerges, there is not a drop of water on it. It's completely clean. And it opens into this beautiful lotus. So sometimes hidden potentials looks sometimes uncomfortable, dirty, not valuable. But when you keep watching and growing, it can become a beautiful lotus flower. This ability to watch and see the growth, even though it is slightly slower, is so important because the mind is usually going with the instinct and desire, which is not bad. Instinct and desire are necessary for us to act. But when we suppress the watching of the growth and the stability of things that can get cleared out, purified, and emerge to showcase our potential, then you get the added benefit of simply it's called wonderful living.
That's why we take water, but we take food, but our skin and our outside doesn't look as food or water.
No, yeah,
It definitely looks different. So
yeah,
what we think is not what we are. We have to digest it.
yeah,
We have the capacity to digest it. Otherwise, our thoughts will always haunt us. The food that we eat, we digest it, and it turns into flesh and blood and bone and all things that is required. Similar to a
yeah,
plant, we are having the same capacity to
exactly.
convert things into life.
Yeah,
If you are not executing it, if you are not experiencing the conversion of tables, there are
yeah,
different ranges of tables in our observation. We are
yeah,
capable of turning food into a body, water into a body, breath into a body, sound into a body, light into our body, and the unknown dimension also into our body system. Such a
yes,
wonderful process is a self. If you execute it, if you exercise it, you have to exercise it with all the activities that are possible. We have
yes,
got a kaleidoscope of activities connected with ourselves. If you enhance yourself, you can feel the wonder of being with infinity. It's connected with the infinity.
yeah,
So there is no requirement of judgment because it is connected with the infinity. So you don't have to judge anything. Everything is moving. Everything is wonderfully moving. Don't try to fix anything. You don't try to establish anything. You are established perfectly. Getting along with that establishment of the totality is sufficient to maintain harmony or whatever is required to experience life.
yes,
It's always flowing, is flowing. Like in the mud, the seed of the lotus, how it is working. The intelligence is working. The intelligence of the universe is making that plant grow out and the leaf not getting wet. Similarly, we are not getting wet with what is around. We are separate from what is around, but we are associating simultaneously with the surrounding also. So
yeah,
that separation is an intelligence. That separation is not loneliness or suffering. The separation is an intelligence. So when you feel that you are lonely, it is simply because you are supposed to take attention into yourself.
yeah,
The happening is asking you to give attention to yourself. You are separated from many things, but this is your commitment to give attention to what is happening to yourself. So loneliness is not a problem. Loneliness is the beginning of wonderful living.
yeah. You can think of a seed. If somebody gives you a seed, you put it on top of the ground, it'll get blown away. But if you make a hole and put it there, put some fertilizer and cover it with mud, put a small marking there. Every day you go give it some water. But once you put it there, every day you should not go dig and disturb it. You have to know where it is and just remember it is there and have the sense of peace to say, wait, give it some water, wait, give it some water, wait. Don't go try to move it. And when you do that, then that intelligence bursts out, opens up. For the intelligence to open up within us, we have to just watch the thoughts. We don't try to fix the thoughts. But the watching is like putting a seed. You watch for a half an hour, you say, oh, I should feel better. No. You watch for half an hour, you say, okay, come back again next day, watch for half an hour. Again, half an hour. Within few days, you will see a green thing coming out. That is like the strong attention now. Now, when you want to watch, the watching is easier because you know where the plant is inside. Your attention is growing like a plant. A lot of people ask, so how can the attention grow? Just like a plant. Initially, it is inside the ground. You don't see it. Now you can see it grow. After that, it will produce leaves. Then somebody will say, oh, I think you don't have roots, no foundation. You produce a tree. You don't have to dig and show people roots. People will see the tree and they will say, oh, yes, this is a strong rooted plant. So you can take the example of a seed. It takes time, but it grows. Again, in phytocentric world, a lot of things, there is a lot of growth and a watching and observing so that you can grow what is needed.
Similar to plants, we feed ourselves with water and food, but we don't feel it growing inside. It's our
Yeah.
capacity to observe inside, not outside. We look outside, oh, my wealth is improving, my bank balance is improving. But this is where you have to focus. You have fed, you have watered yourself. Then what change is happening? There should be a sprouting inside. That is where you have to give attention. If you're giving attention outside, you are taking food and water and you are giving attention outside, then it's a big problem because you're looking at growth outside, then many things are growing around that will grow because it is getting its manure and the water and whatever it is. Your growth is happening within you. As you take food and you grow, and again that food and the body that is grown, we can have food from the body itself. We have the capacity to make food from the body itself. The body with for the primary body that we have grown, if we utilize it, work with it, then we are capable of bringing more food from the body that we have grown from the food that we have eaten. This capacity will give us to transcend more into the space. If you are not maintaining yourself with the sanity, you cannot sustain. You should have sanity of your awareness. It's very important. That divinity is very important. With the divinity under your observation, you are capable of turning your body into a food system. You grow food within, not food from outside only. We are capable of creating food inside also as well. That food will give us the capacity to transcend all the unwanted that is prevailing in the past life. A new life is possible within this life itself. A new reborn, a rebirth is possible within this birth itself. Not getting separated, remaining stable within this one birth, we can give rebirth inside. And that rebirth will have the capacity eventually for the carnation, reincarnation. So we are capable of many dimensions of experience, not only one experience connected with the society and the environment. No, we are capable of connecting ourselves with the outer space, and with that outer space also, we can feel and bring intelligence. If one is not coming into this state of being, then you will remain where you are and you will decay and get back into the same cycle of rebirth and birth and rebirth again and again without having the capacity of living. So many centuries, reproduction is happening continuously. Just reproduction and death, reproduction and death, but not sustaining with life. So centuries and generations have gone by without transcending your problems, without transcending yourself into the next dimension of being, not giving birth to oneself again and again inside within you. When you give birth to your inner self, then you can see, okay, the older self is getting destroyed quite naturally, dissolved without pain. A new self has taken place. A new generation has come into myself, which is growing, which is very childish like, but there is a stable body outside to take care of that child inside. But eventually, this child inside will grow and the outer crust will fall down quite naturally. Such is a living. So you focus on the plants, the bark of the tree, the outer skin will shed out and a new skin will come from inside. Such are we also similar to plants.
Yes. Even the plants which are say, a few hundred years old. You go to the forest or some place, there are trees which are a few hundred years, maybe 1,000 years old trees are there in the world. A few 1,000 year old trees are there. So when you look at the, like you said, there is the bark, the skin outside, and the bark peels. It produces new bark. But also, if you ever look at a tree after it is just cut, you will see rings. And the rings, there's a particular word for it, it's called dendrochronology. So you can count the age of the tree. Chrono means time, dendro means wood, tree. So dendrochronology is to be able to estimate the time of the plant tree's growth by looking at the rings. So you can count the rings, and the rings are indicative of every growth season. So by counting those rings, you can estimate the age of the tree. But also, you have to remember that the wood is also growing. The size of the wood is growing every year. And from this edge of the wood, you can get buds. So this is the other aspect of the phytocentric nature, which is very regenerative. It is always regenerative. You cut a branch on the top, a new shoot will come from the side. If somebody comes and pushes a button, you grow the other way. No problem.
Exactly. But we are not similar to that growth. Our growth is by transformation. When a
Yes,
plant
but
grows big,
I'm telling about our thoughts. If somebody comes and pushes your thoughts in a particular way, you grow another way. You become stable. And then you can give food back because you're growing. So you can
growth,
compare the growth of the plant to the growth of our ideas. See, when you want to have sustainable, everybody is talking about how to make the world more sustainable. One of the reasons why our world is not sustainable is because we have a poor understanding of what growth is.
exactly.
The society. We think growth means bigger things in the world. A lot of big ownership, big things. But for the plant, the big is just sustainable growth. By shifting to a phytocentric framework, we can also think about how we participate with other beings in this world. Because for the harmony of our thoughts and our life and our peace, the harmony of nature is equally important. So that is another aspect of shifting to a phytocentric lens. One can now start to see one's connection, deep connection with nature. And wherever you are, even if you are in a small apartment, a lot of people in the world live in apartments, small apartments. If you go to China, India, many places, Japan, even there, you can bring the forest to the apartment by taking a few plants, growing inside the house, and maintaining a phytocentric mind. It's always green inside, very peaceful. So in Japan, some people have this technique, they call it forest bathing. They go spend a week in the forest. So I keep telling people, why can't we bring the forest to our minds? As soon as you close your eyes and you sit quietly, you can simply imagine you're in the middle of a forest with a lot of beautiful trees around you. All kinds of birds, butterflies, monkeys, snakes, everything moving around, nothing disturbing you. And you're at complete peace. Thus, you can bring the forest to the mind. And when you bring the forest to the mind, immediately you become phytocentric. There is stability, there is growth, there is attention, there is awareness. The ego projection stops, the space and gravity work, and you can see growth, expansion, contraction, growth.
Yes, it's always expanding, and the contraction is done by the universe itself. We cannot
Yes.
imitate the expansion contraction. Even the living and the non living is connected with the expansion contraction. So such is the way to understand our intelligence, to get connected with the intelligence. The intelligence is making one possible. We cannot
Yeah.
imitate intelligence. You cannot fake intelligence. It's not possible and survive in the given space. If you fake intelligence, you will not survive. Never will. You have to sense the intelligence of being, how it is happening. Such is the way to maintain life wonderfully. And it's very beautiful. It never ever get destroyed. It can never
Yeah.
be destroyed. Living can never be destroyed. That's the reason for many generations life is happening here. So just
Yeah.
associate with that beauty of living. That wonderfulness of living is within everyone's sense. Not trying to fix anything. If you try to fix, it will get destroyed eventually. What is fixing my oneself? That is one's attention should be. When you can sense your being, then you can understand we are connected with everything, not with what everyone is trying to condition, bring it into order. No, our timetable will not be a timetable. There is a real biological clock working from within, which is working without any disturbance. Even when you want rest, the body is not seeking rest. The body is
Yeah.
functioning continuously. Even when you are sleeping, the body is working efficiently. Why you want to sleep? Because you are made lot of disturbance for you. That's the reason you want to separate yourself from the disturbance that you have made. So focus inside in your body. It is not asking you to rest. It is always working efficiently. Even when you are sleeping, the body is working more efficiently than when
Mhm.
you are working together with your body. So it is better to drop your ego, drop your self-esteem. Get down, sing with your body. It is not asking you to stop. It's always functioning. Getting along with that which is working continuously will open the doors of all that is required for yourself. And
Right.
eventually you will find there is no doors. You are the one who are making doors. It's open for everything that is required. The
Yeah.
sufficient, the sufficiency is enough. Whatever is there within is enough. That is sufficient. Don't look
Mhm.
elsewhere for your growth. Look inward. Everything will come outward. Don't try to take things from outside and fix inside. Everything is happening from inside. You have water inside. You have blood inside. Whatever is there is inside. There is gold inside. There is iron inside. There is copper inside. And that's the reason we seek outside. It's because there is everything is there is inside. With that only, when it is magnified, we are able to connect with those. When it is more magnified, we can easily connect and digest it very easily. Such is the manner of living. It cannot be changed by anyone. No mind can change it. Only life can change it. And when life is changing, it's always changing beautifully and wonderfully. There only beautiful relationship is possible. Good relationship means getting along with the totality.
The other aspect you can think of, I was thinking, is near your place there is water running. There is a Hadrapalli.
Yes, yes, yes.
Next time, if you go by the edge of these water flowing, you will see plants that are attached to rocks, and the plant is floating. But nobody went and attached the plant to the rocks. So the question is, how did the seed attach to the rock and grow into a plant? How did it do that? These are some. This is another aspect, along with awareness and and this growth. The plants have a very deep ability to adapt into whichever ecosystem it is. It will adapt. So adaptation is another important aspect of phytocentric. So if you say, I don't know how to change and adapt, simply take a phytocentric lens. See how things are around and see where you can get growth. Because that allows you to become aware. Otherwise, you're trying to plan how to grow in the new environment. But if you watch your new environment, you will know where growth is possible. Immediately, the awareness is back. And then you're self aware, you're growing, your mind is not bringing thoughts to cause all kinds of worry and agony. Instead, the forest is always in the mind. And when the mind is bringing up all thoughts, they become beautiful flowers. So thoughts are not disturbing, they're seen as the flowers. And then always your words, your actions are all aligned with that kind of awareness. So if somebody says something harsh, you don't reply back in harsh ways because you see them as adaptation, not a disturbance. And because you're growing all the time, like a plant, you can give. The plant is always giving food, they are primary producers. So when the consumer comes, a worm, a bee, a butterfly, a bird, a squirrel, a monkey, a chimpanzee, a human being, it'll give food. It doesn't give, you can take food. But the very act of its growing is giving. The very act of growing is giving. And by doing that, it is always protected. By doing that, it is always protected. Nobody can destroy the forest. It's always growing. We can cut it off for the time being. They will come back.
Yeah. Tolga is asking, can you talk about how did human evolution came up with the mind and what has the mind created? See the evolution. See, if you want to understand the evolution, you can feel the evolution inside you. It's not from thoughts. You will never understand evolution from thoughts. Never can. You can feel the evolution. How fast evolution is happening. It's not slow. It's not slow. It's very fast. Evolution is happening very fast. So you have to be very careful. Be with yourself. It's changing very fast. So that such attention is required. Such immense attention is required to understand that evolution is happening. That's the reason that we are destroyed very easily because evolution is happening very fast. Why we are destroyed? Because we are not connecting ourselves with that evolution. It's happening very fast. It's happening at the speed of light and much more. That's the reason that we are not able to associate with life continuously. If you are able to understand how evolution is happening, that is living. It's all about evolution. Living means you are evolving. If you are not able to associate with that speed of light within your sense, then living is not possible. That's the reason that everyone is getting destroyed very fast. Or the disease that's penetrating into yourself is because you are not connected with the evolving. Evolving is a sense of awareness that's happening for the living. So you are connected with all the changes that is happening outside. You have to bring attention into your inner self, getting connected with oneself. So when you grow, you spread, you shed the unwanted that is wanted for others, for whoever is in your vicinity. When you are progressing, when you are living, you are growing, your growth will initiate growth for other things. So such is association. When one is growing, whatever you are growing with will shed the light for others. That's how it is. Growth is when the trees shed leaves, it's growth for other things, and the trees making growth from into a different direction. So when we are growing, the ambience of growth will shed the ambience of life for other things around us, not the unwanted. It's wanted for other things to grow. When one is growing, it will help, it will support growth of others. If you are growing only, if you are dying, you are giving invitation for death for others. You grow, keep growing. Be happy, be energetic, be visible for yourself. You have to be visible for yourself. You cannot separate yourself without the visibility. Without that visibility, you will get separated and you will get destroyed. You have to have that visibility always. You cannot live without that visibility of oneself. That visibility is very important. That visibility of light sense is very important. That light sense where the very subtle aspects of being is working continuously. And it's done by the universe so that no one can disturb it. No one can, no society, no other person can disturb when you are living. Living is happening for many centuries, eons and eons. It is happening. It's happening, and no one can stop it. So get connected with that is happening continuously. It's very simple. It's very simple. Get connected with that flow. The water is flowing. Similarly, the blood is flowing inside you. It's flowing. Wherever it is, there is a block. It will definitely interact. If you put a rubber band around your finger, the blood will come and ask you, remove it, remove it, remove it, remove it. If you are not removing it, then definitely what will the blood do? It will cut off that finger. It definitely will cut it off. Such is the intelligence. If you are not removing it in the given time, then The inner intelligence will cut that finger away. If you are tightening, if you are tightening it more and more, what will happen? It will cut it off. The relationship will get cut off. So don't cut off relationships. Maintain good relationship. The flow is happening continuously. If you resist, then you are doomed. You will face nightmares and nightmares only. Don't resist. The intelligence will do everything for you. The intelligence will work for you. So get along with that intelligence which is making one possible. That oneness is the most wonderful, powerful way to live your life. You don't have to seek anything. You are soaked with everything that is required. You're soaked. Just enhance it. Give water, give food to expose what is inside. Give inside, give out whatever is required. Give the right things inside to expose yourself. Give the right things, don't give the wrong things inside. If you want to know about yourself, you have to give water, you have to give food, then you have to give breath, you have to give sound, you have to give light inside, not outside. So the accumulation is happening inside, not outside. You're giving everything inside and you are seeking outside. That's a problem. You're giving everything inside and you're seeking outside to get something. No. Where you give, that's where you have to give attention to, not outside. You're giving inside and you're giving attention outside, then you're lost. That's the problems. You give water inside and you look elsewhere. No. You give water inside and you look inside. You give food inside and you look inside. You breathe in and you look inside. Sound is going in no, inward, not outward. Light is going inward and you get images. Do you have to keep imagination? No. You have to focus into your own image, which is functioning. It is not an imagination, it is an image with life. You don't have to imagine and suffer. It is functioning, not for suffering. It's beautifully functioning and always functioning. No one can stop this from functioning. You don't have to worry about what you are saying. Whatever you are saying, whatever you are doing, you should not focus on a reward because you are the reward. You are the reward. You don't seek anything to. You don't have to expect anything. No, there's nothing going to come for you. You are the only thing. You are the reward. So sense yourself. The more you can sense, the better you can feel. That's what living is. And this is happening for many centuries. This is the only thing that's keep on happening. No new wonder is going to come. You are the wonder. You are the wonder. You don't have to be praised by others. You just focus on yourself. You keep on praising and worshiping yourself. You have got something to worship, to praise, to glorify. Because every moment you are changing into a new being of experiencing. It's happening continuously. No one can stop this from happening. This is the universe. Such is the universe. Once you are connected with yourself, you know this is the only way. And this is not the only way out. This is the only way in. And in is the way. Out is not the way. We give food inside and we look outside. That's a problem. We breathe in and we look outside. That's a problem. We breathe in and look inward. How powerful our ears are. It's not only for the sound that's happening around, it's for the sound inside as well. It's making sound inside also. You can sense the sound, you can feel the sound inside as well. So images reflected are not the only thing that we see. There are images without reflection also. There also we can have the sense of sight. We do have capacity beyond our imagination. So don't clutter yourself with the mind only. Go beyond the mind. We do have the capacity to reside much more within ourselves. So such kind of interaction is happening always, not only once in a week, every moment. Such interaction with Prakash is happening always. Tolga is asking about having this interaction every week. No, this interaction is happening every moment. Me and Prakash, me and Tolga, me and everyone. The interaction is happening continuously. No special interaction. The interaction, we can never stop interacting. The interaction is happening always. Just getting along with an interaction is enough to understand the beauty and glory of life. Don't try to fix, don't try to judge anything. Judge, you're finished, you're done. All the judgments, you get away from your judgments so that you will not be judged by others also as well. If you are judging, others will judge you and you're finished. If you don't judge, then no one can judge you also as well. Stop judging, and no one will judge you also as well. You can see, you can feel the process of being is happening continuously. Why we claim to have problems? Because we claimed many things are such. That's the reason for all the problems. If you don't claim, then it's very clear things are happening. And it always will happen, keep on happening. No one can stop. All the military forces in the world cannot stop the process of living. Technology, scientific technology cannot stop the process of living. Well, that science is doing, working definitely. It has got its own advantages. Wherever it is working good, it's working good. So we don't have to say science is bad, religion is bad. Whatever is there is good for good only. How well we deal with it, that's importance. How you take care of it, how you take the knife. You take it with your handle or with you take it with your sharp side. You take it with the handle so only that you can handle it. So don't catch it in the wrong side. Hold it in the right side. That's very important. How you hold it is very important. How you hold the friendship together. How you hold your association with another person. Yes. So Prakash is here to say some more words of glory. Phytocentric words from Prakash.
Certainly, yeah. It's because Tolga has asked about where did the mind come from in evolution. The mind comes when the awareness is weak. See, if you look at most animals, when they are born, they're already active. Human child is born in many ways in a premature manner. So, because it is born in a premature manner, the brain has to develop outside for 2-3 years. So we can learn a lot of things because our brain is growing, but we also accumulate a lot of things, and that early accumulation is the ego. And so the root of the mind is the ego. That's what holds the mind as a plant. But this mind of the plant wants to grow outwards through the senses. But that mind can only accumulate things. It really cannot grow big. It can only accumulate things. It is not placed in the right place. But generally, in our human lives, we give importance to that aspect because we see growth only there. We think that is growth. But that growth is only towards objects. There is no growth towards the self, inward growth. So, in many ways, the mind that we commonly call the mind is usually every time we open our eyes, we open our ears, the mind actually is sent outside. Who is sending it? The one that is not aware. So as soon as the awareness comes, the watching comes, the growth is there, the plant gets rooted in a different way. Now, that same mind which is wanting to grow outwards finally decides it has to grow inwards. Such a mind is a more peaceful mind. But even then, the awareness is still in the mind of the ego. And then finally, at some point, you realize it is the universe that is making this thing grow. You are not. There is no I am trying to grow. When the I comes in and says, I want to grow, it is trying to grow outwards. Constantly sensing that watchfulness. You let go of that growth outwards. There's a letting go of the growth outwards. Then the inward growth automatically happens. This is how one can think of how we are trapped in our minds in many ways. When I say how we are trapped is we we identify with ourselves only in the mind. But that is just one aspect of our awareness, because that's how our brain and our mind that develops in the early childhood, which is very important, because to grow outwards in the early part of our life is so important, to connect with your parents, to connect with your friends, with your siblings, to learn all that. But then once you're grown, a little bit grow, and you want to grow inwards. So the mind which is trying to reach outwards all the time and thinking it has to grow outwards will always have a struggle, because it will grow a little bit inside and again push it outside. But if there is a constant watchfulness, then there is a beautiful growth inside all the time. Then whatever the growth outwards are like branches that are needed to grow a little bit. But that's not the primary growth. The primary growth is growth inwards. And therefore always in balance, rooted towards gravity and always expanding towards light. Then that sense of I have to get something is not there. The only sense is I have to grow towards gravity. I have to receive light. Then the growth is not I have to grow. The growth happens. It just happens all the time. And therefore the mind, which initially was growing towards the senses out into the world, now grows inwards. So mind is not a problem. When the mind is occupied primarily by the ego, which wants to grow outwards, but the ego realizes its main place is to grow inwards. Then you sense the balance of who you are in the universe, who you are in the world, who you are and other beings, who you are in your body, because you stop identifying with your body, who you are in your mind, because your awareness. You identify only with the awareness, because that is growth towards gravity and light, expanding, contracting, following the rhythm of nature. And that simply is you're getting liberated from the shackles of the ego. Ego has its purpose, but its purpose only is to sense the world to a certain extent. So when you are just awareness, then you sense the ego, the mind, the body, the world, all as something that is happening. It's not very different from your own growth, but that is seen only as a reflection of your growth. You don't see it as the primary thing. You see your growth as primary, and the other things are happening because it's part of the universe. And there you find a very deep sense of stability, growth, calmness, and balance. When you have all the four, it's kind of very sustainable attention. So you don't have to sit, close your eyes, and, oh, I have to calm my mind. The mind is already calm. And then from that calm state, you're aware. You don't try to calm your mind to become aware. From the state of awareness, you just become calm. And then you continue the awareness. A lot of people think about meditation. Most people think, oh, I have to sit and calm my thoughts and calm my mind, I'll be aware. Think opposite. Think you are the growth. Think you are stability. Think you are in the rhythm of the universe. And then as you keep thinking, your mind is like the forest. Is anybody watering the forest? No. Is anybody inviting the birds and the animals into the forest? No. It's all the rhythm that's going on. Same way your awareness is just a rhythm. Suddenly, your awareness. And then maintain that. Suddenly, you're calm like the forest. And that's simply a phytocentric shift. And that is very easy to tap into because wherever you look, the plants now are your companions. As you walk to office, as you go to the park, as you sometimes with a lot of fever look through your window, as you have some lot of pain, you look at a beautiful flower. Suddenly the awareness of the universe and your awareness of who you are is continuously available. And I think that's a deep sense of freedom because it is not something you're trying to create inside you. I'm going to sit and create this calmness. No, you're maintaining the awareness, going towards calmness. That's a much easier way to become calm. And then that will grow because it's like a plant. Wherever there is light, it will grow. Wherever there is water, the roots will grow. Completely stable, sustainable, peaceful, and full of awareness. And that simply is wonderful living, isn't it?
Always.
Always.
We never stops because there's nothing that we have started.
Yeah.
Nothing that we have started. Everything is working, and we are just understanding. We are in recent development. We have
Yeah.
to focus on that. I is the very newest development. I should develop. I should be constant. Then we will dissolve, and I will get prominent. I will get prominent. That I should happen, and eventually that I also will dissolve.
Yeah.
That is the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Spirituality means that I has dissolved. That is
Yeah.
spirituality is all. We cannot talk about spirituality. Spirituality is a development. We cannot give examples of spirituality. No, no one can give proof of spirituality. No one can give proof of I. No, it's not possible. Can we give proof of we? No. How
Yeah.
am I related with Prakash? Can I give an example of my relationship with Prakash? No, I can't give proof of my relationship with Prakash, neither with my food. No, not possible. So it's not about proof. It should not be proven, but you have to be there. It's very important that I am here. Should I prove that to anyone? No. I should have the experiential proof. Oh, I am living. It should not be proven for anyone. It's my proof that I am living. So it's my responsibility. Since I am matured, it's my responsibility that I can remain stable. When others are questioning, I cannot sustain, that means I am not connected with myself. So keep watching. Always, we are always around. For the time being, we are saying goodbye with a wonderful goodbye. See you
Goodbye.
again. We are always around with yourself and ourselves as one. Okay. Bye bye. Thank you for Prakash being with us.
Good night or good morning.
Good morning and good night.
Yeah. Good.